3 juveniles are being held this morning following a string of thefts in Harlan County. We will have reaction from those affected. A southern West Virginia man accused of killing another man in a hit and run is behind bars this morning. And the fight to keep Missouri's only abortion clinic continues later this morning in court. We will have an update on the case.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. It is 6:01 on Wednesday, June the 5th. I'm Will Puckett. Thank you for tuning into Mountain News this morning. Well, it's going to be a little bit of a treacherous day, possibly for some of us. So let's bring Brandon in this morning because we have declared it a severe weather alert day. And Brandon, every time we look at radar, a new little radar system pops up. Yeah, sail.
There you go. And we're continuing to track that, and it continues to develop rapidly, as you saw and you said. Let's take a look and let you see it this morning on Live Pinpoint. Actually, we'll go to the Pikeville camera first there this morning. I forgot that I'd asked for that. That rain has just moved just out of Pikeville at this point. So now let's go to radar, kind of show you where the rain is, and we're going to take you on a bit of a tour as we go through the first part of your day. Let's start down south there, where we're seeing more activity along I-75 near London and Corbin there, coming out of Pulaski County, going toward London and Corbin there along the Knox, Whitley, and Laurel County line. Some over near Barberville and Knox County near Harlan. Over in Harlan County near Hazard, just south of us here in Perry County. And the big cell we've been watching going from Pikeville east toward the West Virginia border there and into Virginia as well through Phelps, getting a pretty good band of rain right now. Visibility was suffering there a few minutes ago in Pikeville where it was raining heavy, but now back to normal. We're looking at temperatures in the 60s and 70s this morning. A very mild start to the day, and temperatures are about 15, anywhere from 10 to 15 degrees warmer this morning than they were this time yesterday morning, except for Middlesboro, where they're an overachiever at 23 degrees warmer than this time yesterday. We averaged 79. Our forecast high is 81. Our record is 90 back on this day in 2008. I'll track the rain again for you here in a few minutes. Will?
All righty, Brandon. Thank you, sir. Well, 3 juveniles are now behind bars after a string of burglaries and vandalism in Harlan County. Police say the 3 kids broke into 4 businesses, stealing and damaging property along the way. WYMT's Justin Case met with one of the business owners who says these crimes are senseless and a major setback to her livelihood.
They slashed this drum with the box cutter, and this drum, and this one, and that one.
Elizabeth Hensley is the owner of Heavenbound in Cumberland. She says while in the store, the juveniles took their time damaging her most expensive items, like drum sets, guitars, and jewelry.
God protected us. We didn't lose our jewelry case. These are things that they tried to open. Both the sides were open about this much, and they pulled out a necklace and broke the chain.
They also stole Hensley's iPad and card reader that she uses to take payments from customers. She is also looking at close to $1,000 in repairs for the back door they kicked open.
They kicked it in here, and they must have pried it because here's the broken board.
2 other businesses on this street were also hit by the 3 juveniles, Julia's Hair Salon and Poor Fork Arts and Craft Guild. Over in Lynch, police say the group of kids smashed the front window and door of Black Mountain Exchange.
We live in a county where drugs are rampant, and if you're not touched by it in some way, then you've not lived here long. So I forgive them. I know Teresa forgives them. You know, I'm just grateful that like I said, it could be worse.
In the end, these are kids, and Hensley says she will be praying for them.
But I just hope they get the help they need.
Trying to make sense of a senseless crime.
Now again, that was Justin Case reporting. Police say the 3 juveniles have confessed to the crimes of burglary and vandalism. We are told that some, if not all of the items have been recovered. The thieves are now being held in the Breathitt County Juvenile Detention Center. 2 people were arrested yesterday afternoon in connection to a string of Bell County storage unit burglaries. Police say 33-year-old Michael Taylor and 33-year-old Proctor Jones were arrested in connection to the thefts after an investigation started over the weekend. Officers say the arrests come from a combined effort from the Bell County Sheriff's Office and the Sheriff's Offices in Lee County, Virginia, and Claiborne County, Tennessee.
We have found items that are going to help further the investigation.
Both Jones and Taylor were charged with burglary in the 3rd degree and are being held at the Bell County Detention Center. 2 people are facing charges for stealing from an AMVETS post in Laurel County. Deputies arrested Lawrence Mullins and Rebecca Bates this morning. They're both facing theft and drug charges. Deputies say they took a lot of things from the post, including safes, a dollar change machine, some drills, and a fishing pole that was meant for a raffle. Deputies say they also found drugs in the home where the 2 were arrested. A family finally has some relief after a deadly hit-and-run crash in southern West Virginia. After 10 days on the run, the Wayne County Sheriff says U.S. Marshals found the suspect, Ancy Markham, hiding in a closet near Fallsburg in Lawrence County, and they arrested him. Those who knew the victim, 63-year-old Jesse Dingus, says the crash was an act of cowardice and cruelty they could not comprehend.
If I was going to charge somebody like that, I'd put the hanging back, because nobody should have to go through that.
Markham is charged with involuntary manslaughter, negligent homicide, and leaving the scene of an accident. Jesse Dingus was a retired coal miner. His funeral was held this past Sunday. In other news this morning, a grand jury has indicted 21 suspects from Wise and Lee counties in a federal drug conspiracy case. Investigators say the group conspired to distribute meth in both areas between July 1st, 2016 and May 1st of this year. 17 of the 21 suspects have already been arrested. You can view those suspects and their charges on our website at WYMT.com. Well, the Powell County Health Department is tackling the opioid crisis. It held a community forum last night talking about addiction prevention and treatment. Olivia Russell tells us how the problem is hitting home for people there.
And if you look at this map down
People
here,
know it's a problem, but it's something that people don't want to talk about, I think.
The Powell County Health Department opening a discussion on opioids.
It affects every family here in some form or fashion.
Officials say it's a widespread problem hitting the Bluegrass State hard. The CDC's most recent data shows that in 2017, Kentucky was one of the 5 deadliest states for drug overdoses.
Addiction in general does not differentiate between social or economic situations.
It's something Dr. Tawfiq Cassis is fighting. He's a primary care physician and addiction treatment specialist in Powell County.
The primary care is always the first line defense in treating any disease. Addiction is an epidemic. It is a disease. It is a brain disease.
He says the first step to help the community is breaking the stigma of addiction.
No patient, nobody want to be an addict. They don't enjoy their life. It's a very complex brain disease.
Now, as people there learn more about addiction, they're hoping to stop the problem and save the younger generation.
I want a good life for my grandchildren. I want them not to have to grow up with opioid and all these drugs around them.
In Powell County, Olivia Russell, WKYT.
Officials say the forum is part of a bigger effort to get a grant from the Department for Public Health. Well, anti-abortion advocates protested in front of a Planned Parenthood center in St. Louis, awaiting a judge's decision that could come today. The ruling will decide if the center will still be allowed to perform abortions without a state license, which expired last week. The center in St. Louis is the only one in the state currently providing abortions.
We're very concerned about this notion that people still don't know from day to day. They're on pins and needles about whether they can access safe and legal abortion in their home state.
State health officials are investigating what they say are claims of failed abortions and other issues at the facility. If a judge rules that abortions are not allowed to continue at the facility, Missouri will become the first state in the nation without a legal abortion clinic since the Supreme Court decision on Roe v. Wade in 1973. Family and friends are mourning the loss of an 11-year-old boy from Cincinnati this morning after he drowned recently in South Carolina. First responders rushed to Beach Colony Resort in North Ocean Boulevard in Myrtle Beach Sunday. Police say they are investigating, but no charges are expected to be filed. More than 12 people were taken to a hospital after a boat fire Tuesday in Massachusetts. Authorities say the boat caught fire as the 5 people on board the boat were fueling up at a marina dock near Boston. When the fire ignited, they jumped into the water. Good Samaritans on another boat helped rescue them. Several first responders had to be taken to the hospital as well to be treated for smoke inhalation. A father and son suffered some burns, but everyone is expected to be okay. The cause of the fire is under investigation.
It was quiet for a while overnight. Now things are starting to pick up a little bit and more waves of showers and storms will be around throughout the day. Let's take a look this morning, last 6 hours satellite radar. We go back to the beginning of the loop around midnight and you see everything's pretty quiet. And all of a sudden 3, 4, 5 o'clock rolls around and you see those showers and storms starting to pop. Here's live pinpoint Doppler radar. And some of those storms down to the south there, those closing in on I-75 there, London and Corbin, have some lightning in them. And some of those are a little bit on the stronger side. Nothing severe at this point, but a couple of strong storms around this morning. 74 Middlesboro, 70 in Somerset, 71 in Monticello. That's our warm spots this morning. Everybody else in the mid to upper 60s across the region. Across the state, 69 Paducah, 76 in Nashville, 65 in Cincinnati, 64 in Charleston, West Virginia. At Cass, we are going to see again chances for showers and storms off and on throughout the day. Could see an afternoon break, which could bring us another wave later tonight. I'll talk more about that in just a few minutes. Will?
All righty, Brandon, thank you. And thank you for joining us on Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. Still to come, how one pharmacy chain is planning on redesigning hundreds of stores and what they hope to accomplish.
A new study reveals what you should look for on the label when choosing a probiotic. I'm Wendy Gillette. I'll tell you what's important and what's not.